Welcome, you can let everything go now. The day is done. Whatever it held, it is finished with you, and you are finished with it. There is nothing left to solve tonight, nothing left to carry. Only this: the bed beneath you, the dark around you, and a voice that asks nothing of you at all. You might begin by letting your body find its place. Wherever you are lying, however you have arranged yourself, it is right. You can shift once, twice, until something in you says, yes, here, and then you can stop arranging. Let the mattress hold you completely. It knows how. It holds you the same way the ground holds a stone, without effort, without thought. Take a slow breath in through your nose if that feels comfortable, and let it out even more slowly through softly parted lips. There is no rhythm to keep, no count to follow, just air moving in and air moving out. A tide that has been rising and falling in you since before you can remember and needs nothing from you to continue. Another breath, if you like, in and out. You may notice that the out breath is where the letting go lives. Each exhale, the body settles a little further into the bed. The shoulders soften and spread. The jaw loosens. The small muscles around the eyes, the ones that have been working all day without your knowing, they can stop now. The face becomes smooth and unguarded, the way a face looks when no one is watching it. Your hands can lie open or curled, however they have fallen. Your legs can be heavy, heavier than they were a moment ago. There is a particular heaviness that comes when the body understands it will not be asked to stand again tonight, and you can allow that heaviness now. It moves down through you like warm sand, through the chest, through the hips, down the long bones of the legs into the ankles, the heels, the feet. You have permission to do nothing. That is the whole of it. Nothing to picture correctly, nothing to achieve. If your mind drifts, that is not a mistake. It is the beginning of sleep, arriving early. You can let it wander wherever it likes, and my voice will simply be here, somewhere in the background, like a light left on in another room. And as you rest there, breathing slowly in the dark, imagine now that you are standing at an airlock. The inner door has just closed behind you with a soft, final sound. A low, cushioned thump, and then a long hiss that fades to nothing. Whatever belonged to the day is on the other side of that door now. The lists, the voices, the unfinished things, they are sealed away in another room of the world, and they will keep without you. Here, in this small, quiet chamber, there is only the hum of the ship around you, so low and constant that it is almost a kind of silence. And the faint, clean mineral scent of the air, like cold stone and fresh water, like the air inside a cave that has never known dust. The suit you are wearing is soft, not the stiff armor of films, something closer to a favorite garment, warm and light, fitted so gently you can barely feel where it ends and you begin. Warmth circulates through it in slow waves, like bathwater that never cools. Your hands are bare inside soft cuffs. Your breathing sounds close and calm in your own ears. In front of you, the outer door waits. There is a small round window in it, dark as ink, and through that darkness, a single star, steady, unblinking. It has been shining that way for longer than there have been eyes to see it, and it is in no hurry at all. You can feel your weight beginning to leave you, even now. The chamber is easing you toward weightlessness the way evening eases the sky toward night. Gradually, kindly. Your heels lift a little from the floor. Your arms drift up from your sides on their own, floating at half height, and you let them. It feels like standing chest deep in warm water. The body remembers this somehow, from before. The outer door opens without a sound, and you drift through, out of the ship into the soft black. There is a moment, just at the threshold, when the last breath of ship air travels with you. That clean mineral scent, cold stone and water wrapped around you like the smell of home on a coat. It fades slowly as you drift, thinning behind you, and you let it thin. You do not need it. The suit breathes for you now, quiet and sure, and each breath tastes faintly of that same cool cleanness, softened, distant. A memory of the ship carried in the air itself. You are floating. truly floating, nothing beneath you, nothing above. The words beneath and above have quietly stopped meaning anything, and you may notice how restful that is. How much effort those words were all your life without your knowing. Here there is only out in every direction, and out is full of stars. They are everywhere. Not the few dozen you know from the ground, but thousands upon thousands in every shade a white can be. Warm whites and cool whites, faint golds, small blues like chips of glacier ice. They do not twinkle here. There is no air to make them tremble. They simply shine, steady and unhurried, each one holding perfectly still, and their stillness settles into you like a hand laid gently on the chest. Whatever hurried in you today, it slows watching them. It cannot help but slow. And below you, if you let your gaze drift down along your own floating body, past the soft toes of your suit, there is the earth. It is far, farther than you expected, and gentler for it. From here, it is a dim blue lamp hanging in the black, no bigger than something you could cup in two hands. Its blue is deep and quiet, the blue of the last minute of dusk, and across it move faint white curls of cloud, so slow they seem painted. A thin arc of light traces one edge where the sun touches it, a hairline of gold on a sphere of blue-gray silk. Everything you have ever done happened there. Everyone you have ever known is sleeping there, or soon will be. And from here, all of it is small enough to be safe. Small enough to be left alone for one night, glowing softly, keeping itself. You watch it for a while. There is no need to do anything else. The suit keeps you warm. Your breath comes and goes. The earth lamp shines below your feet, and the stars shine everywhere else, and you hang between them in the soft black like a note of music held forever. You may notice that your body has begun to turn. It is the slowest turning imaginable. A drift, a rotation so gradual you only know it is happening because the stars are wheeling past you, one field of them giving way to another, unhurried as clouds. Nothing is turning you. It is only that nothing is holding you still, and the body, released, moves the way water moves, in long, patient curves. You can feel it in your inner ear as the faintest sweetness, like the first moment of falling asleep, when the bed seems to tilt and it doesn't matter. Let yourself turn. There is nothing to face. No front, no forward. The turning brings the earth lamp slowly around, letting it slide across your view like a blue coin rolling in slow motion. And then it drifts behind you out of sight, and there is only starfield, deep and layered, some stars close and bright, some so faint they are more like a texture than a light, a silver dust breathed across the black. And then, in time, the blue lamp comes around again, a little dimmer than before, a little farther. You are drifting outward, gently with every turn. And that is right. That is the direction of tonight. Your arms have found their own places, floating a little away from your sides, elbows soft, fingers curled the way fingers curl in deep sleep. No joint in you is bearing anything. Your spine, which has held you upright through every day of your life, has nothing to hold up here. And you can feel it lengthening, easing, each small bone drifting a hair's breadth from its neighbor, the whole column of you unclenching like a fist slowly opening. The neck lets the head go. The head floats. Even your face floats, every muscle of it resting on nothing. The warmth of the suit moves in slow waves, chest to fingertips, hips to toes. And where it passes, the body softens further. You might follow one of those waves now if you like, warmth blooming at the breastbone, spreading along the collarbones, down the inside of the arms, slow as honey, pooling in the palms. The palms grow heavy and warm. Then the wave fades and another begins lower. Warmth at the base of the spine, spreading through the hips, down the long thighs, the calves, gathering in the soles of the feet like standing in a patch of sun. And all the while, the stars. You are turning through them so slowly. One drifts past that is faintly rose-colored, a soft blush of a star, rare among the whites, and you watch it cross your view over the course of several breaths, unhurried, and pass on. Another pair sit close together, one gold and one blue, near enough to each other that they seem companions. Two lights keeping each other company across a distance you cannot imagine, and untroubled by it. Nothing out here is troubled by distance. Nothing out here is troubled at all. Listen, and you can hear how quiet it is. Not the pressing silence of a held breath, but a deep, furred, velvet quiet, the quiet of a snowed-in night multiplied beyond measure. Within it near, there is only you, the soft tide of your own breathing inside the suit, in and out, closer than any sound has ever been. And beneath that, if you listen further, the small, dim drumbeat of your own heart, patient, slowing. Those are the only two sounds in all this dark, your breath and your heart. And far away, so faint it may only be the memory of it, the low hum of the ship you left, fading, almost gone now. A single warm note dissolving behind you into the black. Every out-breath carries you a little farther. You can feel it if you attend to it softly. The smallest push, gentler than a sigh, easing you outward through the dark each time you exhale. In breath and you rest, out breath and you drift in, and rest, out, and drift. The dark receives you a little deeper each time, the way deep water receives a slowly sinking leaf. No splash, no hurry, only down and down through layer after layer of stillness. Except here there is no down, only farther. Only deeper into the quiet. The earth lamp comes around again with your slow turning, and it is smaller now, dimmer. Its blue has deepened toward the blue of very old glass. The gold hairline along its edge has thinned to almost nothing. It looks from here like a nightlight glimpsed from the top of the stairs. Still burning, still faithful, but belonging to a room you are no longer in. You feel a wave of tenderness for it, maybe. And then the turning carries it gently out of view, and the tenderness settles into your chest and becomes part of the warmth there. Ahead of you now, though ahead means only where your closed, soft eyes happen to rest, the starfield is deeper than before. You have drifted into a region where the stars are layered like lights in falling snow. Bright ones near, fainter behind them, and behind those a dust of light so fine it has no single points at all, only a pale grain across the darkness, the shine of 100 million suns too far to be anything but a whisper. You are moving into that whisper, slowly, at the speed of breath. And there is a color out here you did not expect. The black is not one black. As your eyes rest into it, it opens. Near you it is a soft charcoal, warm somehow, like the dark inside a wool blanket. And farther out it deepens through blue blacks and violet blacks toward a depth that has no name, the color of closed eyes, the color of the moment before a dream begins. You are drifting through shades of dark the way you might drift through rooms of a sleeping house, each one softer than the last. Your breathing has slowed without your asking it to. You may notice that. The in-breath comes shallow and easy now, taking only what it needs. And the out-breath goes on, long and thin, like a ribbon of warm air unspooling into the black behind you. Each ribbon of breath is a little of the day, leaving. The last of the morning, gone. The afternoon, gone. The evening, the small frictions, the words spoken and unspoken. Unspooling behind you, thinner and thinner, dissolving among stars that will keep them without judgment, the way the sea keeps rain. You turn and the stars wheel, and time out here is not what it was. There are no hours in this place. No clocks have ever ticked here. The light around you left its stars before there were mornings at all, and it travels on regardless, patient past all patience. And floating inside that patience, your own small hurry finishes dissolving. There is nowhere you are meant to be but here. There is nothing this moment is for. It is simply the dark and the lights in it, and you, warm, turning, breathing. One more quiet body, among the quiet bodies of the sky. Somewhere off to one side, so gradual you almost miss it, a soft veil of light comes into view as you turn. A nebula, faint as breath on glass. It is the palest rose and gray-green, a sheer curtain hanging across a few hundred stars, lit from within by lights it has half swallowed. It does not glow so much as hint at glowing. You drift, and it holds still, and over many slow breaths it passes across your vision like a watercolor stain spreading in the dark. And the stars behind it soften as they shine through, haloed, blurred, the way streetlights blur through a rained-on window. Something about it makes the eyes want to close further. You can let them. The veil will go on being beautiful whether or not it is watched. Your hands are so heavy now, heavy and warm, floating at your sides, and you could not lift them if you tried. But there is nothing to lift them for. Your feet have gone soft and far away, two warm, distant countries at the end of you. The boundary of your body has begun to blur a little at the edges, the way it does in a warm bath when the water goes still. You are not entirely sure, in the gentlest way, where your skin ends and the suit's warmth begins, where the warmth ends and the dark begins. It doesn't matter. It is all one soft continuum tonight. Body, warmth, dark, stars, and you are somewhere in the middle of it, held. The out-breath comes again, long and thin, and carries you farther. The stardust ahead has grown very slightly nearer, or you have grown very slightly nearer to it. It is impossible to say, and there is no need to say. The rose-gray veil slides slowly out of view behind your turning shoulder. The earth lamp, when it comes around this time, is only a dim blue spark among the other sparks. You have to look softly to find it at all, and finding it, you can let it go again, back into the field of lights, one lamp among thousands now, all of them steady, all of them unhurried, all of them shining on you at once like the attention of something vast and kind that wants nothing from you but your rest. And you drift on, turning so slowly, breathing so slowly, deeper into the soft black where the quiet is older than anything and wide enough to hold you all night long. And somewhere in that soft black, without any decision being made, your turning slows. Not stopped, only slower, the way a coin settling to the bottom of a deep pool slows and slows until movement and stillness are almost the same thing. The stars stop wheeling and begin instead to hang. To simply hang there all around you, above and below and behind, a stillness so complete it has a texture. Like velvet held very close to the face in the dark, felt more than seen. You hang inside it. One warm breath, then another. And in that new stillness, sounds you hadn't noticed rise gently to meet you. Your own breath first, close and soft inside the helmet, a small tide going in and out, warming the air near your cheeks each time it leaves you. You may notice when the breath is at its slowest, the faintest bloom of mist at the bottom edge of the glass, appearing and fading like a small gray flower that only lives for a moment at a time. And beneath the breath, deeper down, the quiet drum of your own heart. Slow now, very slow. A patient, muffled beat you feel more in the chest than here. And out here, with nothing else in any direction for a very long way, that small drum is the only clock there is, and it is not counting anything. It is only keeping you company. Beat and beat, unhurried as everything else in this place. There is a scent, too, when you notice it. Faint and clean, the smell of warmed cotton and something like cedar, the smell of the inside of the suit that has been holding you all this time. It is the smell of a linen cupboard in a warm house, folded away in the dark. You breathe it in without trying, and it goes down into you the way warmth goes into cold hands. Slowly, kindly, all the way through. And when your eyes drift open again, or half open, or only seem to, there is something new across the dark. A band. A wide, pale band of light lying across the whole sky, from one edge of everything to the other, like a river seen from very far above at night. Not bright. Never bright. It is the softest imaginable smoke of light, made of stars so many and so far that they have stopped being separate points and become a mist. A long, slow current of silver and faint gold, deeper in some places, thinner in others, with dark channels running through it like the shadows of islands in shallow water. This is the river the sky has always carried and rarely shows. And you are floating beside it now, near enough to see the grain of it, far enough that it asks nothing of you at all. You can let your gaze travel along it, slowly, the way a fingertip travels along the spine of an old book. Here the river brightens into a broad pool of pale light, crowded and soft. Here it narrows, pinched by a long dark cloud lying across it like a sleeping animal. Here it frays into wisps at its banks, single stars drifting loose from the current the way sparks drift loose from a bonfire long after the flames have settled to coals. And everywhere behind and beneath the brightness, that dark. That deep, warm, upholstered dark, holding the river the way a riverbed holds water. Your breath goes out, long and thin, and the river seems to slide the smallest fraction past you. Or you past it. Either way. You are drifting with it now, alongside it, two slow things keeping pace in the night. The current carries you gently past a region where the stars run warm. You notice the colors before you notice anything else. Because out here, when the eyes are soft and the hurry is gone, the stars are not white at all. This one, close by the river's edge, burns a deep amber, the color of lamplight through honey. That one further in is a pale coral, faint as the inside of a shell. And scattered between them, blue-white ones, cold and clean as frost on a window pane, and small dim red ones the color of embers at the very end of an evening. Old, patient stars that have been dimming for longer than anything has had a name. A whole field of them, warm and cool together, near and far together, like the lit windows of a city seen from a hillside at 3 a.m. Every window a life you don't need to know, every light content to simply be on. You float past them at the speed of honey. The amber one slides behind you over the course of many breaths. The coral one holds beside you a while, companionable, then it too begins its long, slow slide toward the edge of seeing. Nothing out here arrives quickly and nothing leaves quickly. Everything approaches like sleep itself. So gradually that the moment of its coming can never be found afterward, only the fact of it already here, already holding you. And now, drifting between you and the river, something small and lovely. A thin scatter of ice-motes, a loose handful of frozen dust crossing the dark on its own slow errand. Each grain is tiny, tinier than snow, but each one catches the light of some distant star as it turns. A glint, a pause, a glint, so that the whole drifting handful sparkles softly, randomly, like frost falling through the beam of a porch light on a still winter night. They pass you at arm's length, unhurried, and you may find you can almost hear them. Not truly a sound, but the idea of a sound, the hush that snowfall makes, that held-breath hush of the world when snow is coming down and every edge has gone soft. The motes drift on. The sparkle thins. The hush remains, settled over you now like one more blanket. And beneath it your body grows heavier still, heavy the way snow-laden branches are heavy, bowed and content, in no danger of anything, just full. Your shoulders have let go of something they were holding so long they'd forgotten it'd weight. You feel them settle, half a breath lower, into the warmth. Your jaw has gone loose. The small muscles around your eyes have smoothed out entirely, the way a pond smooths after the last ring of the last raindrop has widened away to nothing. And behind your eyes, in that inner dark that is its own small piece of space, the same slow light seemed to drift. Faint, unnameable, going nowhere. And it becomes hard to tell, in the softest way, whether your eyes are open to the stars or closed to them. Both are the same tonight. The dark inside and the dark outside have agreed with each other. They are one dark, and you are afloat in the middle of it, warm as a coal wrapped in wool. The river of light lies alongside you still, patient as a shoreline. And along its farther bank now, if you let your soft gaze rest there, a chain of star clusters comes slowly into view. Little gatherings of stars, a few dozen here, a few dozen there, each cluster knotted loosely together like fireflies that have decided to keep near one another through the night. One of them is very young, as these things go. It stars a close blue-white cluster, still wearing shreds of the faint gauze they were born in. Another is old, wide and loose, its stars amber and calm, drifted apart over ages the way embers drift apart in a hearth, still warm, still glowing, no longer needing to touch. You pass them at your honeyed pace, one after another, each a small lit village along the river, and none of them requires anything of you. You are the traveler no one is waiting for, the boat no dock expects. You may simply glide and look or not look and glide on. Somewhere in the passing, your breath has found a rhythm so slow it barely counts as rhythm anymore. In, a long, soft filling like a sail taking the gentlest wind. And out, a longer, softer emptying, and at the bottom of each emptying a pause, a small, still landing, where nothing happens at all and nothing needs to. You can rest inside those pauses. They are getting wider. There is room in them now. Room enough to set everything down that was ever carried, room enough to float, room enough almost to sleep. And if sleep comes here, in one of these wide, quiet pauses, it will come the way the ice-motes came. Glinting faintly, hushed, already passing through you before you knew it had arrived. Far off along the river, so far it takes a while for the eyes to believe it, a comet is crossing the night. Not near, nowhere near. Only a pale brushstroke against the black, a soft smudge of silver green with the faintest long feather of tails streaming behind it, combed out by a wind that isn't wind. It moves, but at this distance its movement is a rumor. You would have to watch for an hour to be sure of it, and you don't have to be sure of anything. It is simply out there, keeping its long appointment with the dark, dragging its gentle veil across 1,000 years of empty road. Travelers pass each other this way in the night, without hail, without haste. A light seen across a valley, acknowledged, released. You watch it for a while with eyes mostly closed. Then it keeps its way, and you keep yours, and the river of stars holds steady between you like an old road neither of you needs. The warmth around you has deepened again. You may notice it most in your lower back and in the backs of your legs. A spreading, sinking warmth. The exact warmth of a bed that has been slept in long enough to become entirely yours. The suit has stopped feeling like a thing you are wearing. It is more like water now, warm water with no surface, and you are suspended in it at the precise depth where the body weighs nothing and the mind weighs less. Your fingers may have curled a little, on their own, the way sleeping hands curl. Let them. Your breath fogs its small gray flower on the glass and the flower fades, and the stars beyond the glass are haloed and gentle, and the drum of your heart is slower than it has been all day. Slower than it has been all year, perhaps, beating in the wide pauses, unhurried, unwatched at home. And the river bends. Rivers do, even this one. A long, grand, patient curve, taking whole minutes of your slow drift to reveal itself, and you follow it without steering, carried on the same soft current of nothing that has carried you all night. Around the bend, the light changes. Not brighter, only differently arranged. Here the star mist banks up into high, pale bluffs on one side, thin to almost nothing on the other, so that you drift along a shore of light with open dark beyond it, the way a small boat hugs a moonlit coast with the whole night sea to starboard. The dark on that open side is the deepest you have seen yet. It is not empty. Nothing out here is empty. But its stars are so few and so far that each one sits alone in acres of black, a single lit farmhouse on an enormous plain. You look out over that plain, and something in your chest unclenches another notch, some final small latch you didn't know was still fastened. Because there is so much room. There has always been so much room. Room for every thought to drift off and find its own far acre and settle there, glowing faintly, bothering no one. Room for you to take up exactly the space you take up, warm and small and sufficient, and not one breath more of effort than that. You drift along the bright coast with the great dark plain on your other side, and for a long while there is nothing but this. The mist of stars to one hand, the deep open black to the other, your breath, your slow heart, the clean cotton and cedar warmth, the hush. Now and then a single star on the plain seems to tremble, the way distant lights tremble across miles of cold air. A shimmer, a steadying. Now and then the coast of light shows you a fold, a cove, a soft inlet of darkness cut into the brightness, edged with stars like lamps along a harbor wall. You pass each one slowly. You do not stop. Stopping and going have become the same gentle thing. Your thoughts, if any are left, have gone very simple now. They are not sentences anymore. They are more like the ice-motes. Small, drifting, catching light for a moment, letting it go. A glint of something from the day already too far to name. A face, warm, dissolving. A word without its meaning, floating past like a leaf on dark water. You do not need to catch any of them. They are all headed the same direction you are. Downstream, downward, deeper into the soft black. And they will arrive wherever they arrive without your help. The mind that watched them is lying down now too, somewhere behind your eyes, curling into itself like a cat in a warm chair. One ear still faintly turned to this voice, and even that ear is drooping now. Even that last listening is becoming optional, becoming distant, becoming part of the hush. The coast of stars thins. Gently, over many breaths, the bright bluffs lower themselves, the mist spreads and softens, and you find you are drifting now not beside the river but within its shallows. Stars all around you again, but sparse, spaced, calm, like the last few lanterns left burning at the end of a festival, when everyone has gone home happy and the night is cleaning up after itself in no hurry at all. One lantern star off to your left burns a soft gold. One below you, if there is a below, a dim and patient red. The dark between them is warm. Everything out here that could ever have been done is done. Everything that could be put away is put away. What remains is only this slow, shallow drift among the last lights, and the breath, and the heavy, sweet weight of your own body, and the certainty, quiet as the stars themselves, that you are allowed to be exactly this tired and exactly this held. You sink a little deeper into the warmth. The gold lantern star slides, over the course of a long while, from the left of your vision toward its center, and hangs there, soft-edged, haloed, like a nightlight down a hallway seen through half-closed eyes. You may find your gaze resting on it without effort. Not focusing, only resting, the way a hand rests on the fur of a sleeping animal. It flickers once, very faintly, starlight crossing all that distance just to arrive gently on your face. It has been traveling toward this moment for longer than there have been nights to sleep through. And now it is here, and so are you, and the meeting is as quiet as light on closed eyelids. Which is what it is. Which is all it is. Warmth and light, and the dark holding both. Your out-breath goes long again, longer than any before it. And at the bottom of it the pause opens wide, wide as the plain, and you rest there. The gold star keeps its small watch. The red one embers on below. The river of light lies away behind you now, a pale memory of brightness across the black, and ahead there is only the deep, the soft deep, sown thinly with lights that ask nothing. And you drift toward it at the speed of falling asleep, which is no speed at all, which is only a letting, only a loosening, only the last few threads going slack one by one, by one. The hush has a depth to it now. You are far enough down in the night that even the idea of sound has grown sleepy. Your heartbeat is a rumor under wool, your breath is a tide in another room, and the silence between them is thick and kind, like the silence inside a seashell, like the silence of deep snow at the bottom of a valley no road reaches. You float in it. It floats in you. The gold star is dimmer now, or your eyes are softer. It makes no difference which. Its light comes through the lashes blurred into a small, warm smear, the way lights come through at the very edge of sleep, when the world is finishing its slow turn away, and you are finishing yours. And still the drift goes on, patient, downstream into the dark, past a last thin scatter of stars, spaced like stepping stones across a black brook, past a wisp of gauze so faint it may only be the memory of the rose-gray veil, waving once, letting you go. Past nothing, then, for a long, soft while. Just dark, warm dark, and the small gold light growing smaller behind you, keeping the doorway of the night the way a lamp keeps a doorway, so that nothing about this deep is ever lost, only entered. Your body barely reports itself anymore. A warmth here, a heaviness there, a slow rise somewhere that must be breath. That is all, and it is enough, more than enough. It is everything, this little weather of a resting body, drifting through a sky that has kept every sleeper's secret since before there were secrets to keep. The stars that remain are few and faithful. The dark that holds them is soft and without any bottom you will ever need to find. And you go on sinking into it the way a feather sinks through still air, tipping, riding, tipping, slower with every layer, warmer with every layer, further from every shore. And somewhere in that sinking, without any push or turning that you could name, the drift begins to turn you, so slowly that only the stars can tell. They slide over minutes, over longer than minutes, from one edge of your softened vision toward the other, the way the view from a train window changes when the track bends through a long, long curve in the dark. You are being shown a new quarter of the night, not taken anywhere. Only turned, gently, the way a sleeper is turned by sleep itself, and the sky that comes into view now is quieter still than the one you leave. A stretch of black with hardly any lights in it at all. 3, maybe 4, small and far and blue-white, like the last few snowflakes of a snowfall that ended hours ago. The dark between them is the softest dark you have ever rested your eyes on. It has no grain. It has no edge. Looking into it is like looking into closed eyes. And you may find that your own eyes and this dark have begun to agree with each other, that there is less and less difference between the black out there and the black behind your lids, and that the agreement is restful, deeply restful, like two hands folding together. Your breath moves through this new quiet without disturbing it. In, and the warmth around your chest gathers a little closer, wool-warm, holding the faint, clean scent of warm wool in cold night air, the smell of blankets in a room where a window stood open all evening and was closed just before sleep. Out, and the warmth spreads down through your arms, your hips, the long, heavy bones of your legs, pooling in your heels like the last of a bath's heat. There is nothing here that needs you. The turning continues at its own pace, slower than the hands of any clock, and you are carried around inside it like a word inside a long, unhurried sentence. A sentence the night is saying to itself, softly, about rest. Far off in the new dark, if your eyes drift that way, there are 2 stars keeping close company. Blue-white, both of them small as pinpricks in dark cloth, and circling one another so slowly that the circling cannot be seen, only felt, the way you feel that a tide is turning without seeing the water move. They have been dancing like this since long before anything had a name, one slow revolution at a time, each turn taking longer than a lifetime of nights. And they are in no hurry, and they never lose each other, and there is something in that patience that loosens a knot you didn't know you were still holding. You might let it loosen. You might let your shoulders learn what those 2 lights know. That nothing needs to be finished tonight, that circling is enough, that being near is enough, that slow is not the opposite of anything. Slow is its own whole country, and you are deep inside its borders now, with the paperwork of the day left far behind at some crossing you can no longer picture. Closer in, much closer, something fine has begun to drift past you. Dust, stardust, silver gray, each grain smaller than a snowflake's smallest branch, catching what little light there is and letting it go again, over and over, so that the space around you fills with a faint, slow glitter, like pollen crossing a dark room, like the motes that hang in the one beam of an afternoon you remember from being very small, in a house that smelled of sun-warmed dust and quiet. The grains pass you slower than snow falls. Some of them seem to pause as they go by, the way a leaf pauses on still water. None of them touch you, and yet you may notice a coolness at the very surface of your skin as they pass, the gentlest possible coolness, a whisper of temperature like the air just above a bowl of clean, cold water. There and gone, while the wool warmth underneath you holds steady and deep. Cool above, warm below. The body loves that arrangement. It is the oldest recipe for sleep there is, and yours is following it now without being asked, sinking a little further with every drifting grain. The hush deepens around the dust the way silence deepens around falling snow. You can almost hear it. Not sound, but the shape where sound would be. A soft pressure of quiet against your ears, steady and kind. Beneath it, far beneath it, your own slow tide goes on. In and out, and the pause. The pause is longer now than the breaths on either side of it, and it is the pause more than anything that carries you. A small dark harbor between one wave and the next, where nothing arrives and nothing departs, and you simply float at anchor, rocking so slightly that the rocking might only be remembered from some other night, some other harbor, long ago and perfectly safe. The dark itself has changed texture again as you've come down through it. Higher up, hours ago or minutes, it hardly matters. It was thin like night air. Now it is thick like still water, not wet. Nothing here is wet, but it holds you the way deep water holds a diver who has stopped swimming. Evenly, on all sides at once, pressing nowhere and supporting everywhere, so that the weight of your body is spread out into the night until there is almost none of it left in any one place. Your head weighs nothing your neck needs to answer for. Your hands are two warm thoughts resting at your sides. Somewhere below your ribs, the breath goes on lifting and lowering its small, warm cargo, and even that is lighter now, a tide in miniature, a sea the size of a sleeping chest. And the great black water of the night holds all of it, easily, the way the ocean holds a single float of kelp, asking nothing of it, moving it only with the slowest of its slow currents. You may find in this thicker dark that your thoughts have changed texture too. They come further apart now. They arrive without their beginnings and leave before their ends, small soft shapes drifting through, unlit, unnamed. And none of them are for you. They are like fish passing far under a boat, shadows in the deep water minding their own dim errands. And you rest on the surface far above them, warm in wool, and let them pass. One passes now, perhaps, and is gone. And the space it leaves behind is wider than the thought was. And you settle into that width the way a body settles into a bed that turns out to be bigger than expected, spreading, easing, taking up the room that was there all along. Away to one side, at a distance your eyes cannot measure and do not try to, a comet is crossing the deep. You would not know it moves. It hangs there like a small pale brushstroke on the black, a smudge of silver-green light with the faintest long feather of a tail, dim as breath on a cold window. And it is traveling, truly traveling, faster than anything you have ever ridden. And yet from here, from this soft anchorage in the dark, it is perfectly still, a lamp carried by someone walking a road so far away that a whole night will pass before they seem to take a step. There is company in it, quiet company, the best kind. The kind that asks for nothing, not even a glance. The kind that is simply also awake somewhere, also traveling, also unhurried, so that the night feels inhabited without being any less yours. You can rest with it there at the edge of things. You can let it carry its small light across the black on your behalf, so that nothing at all remains for you to carry. In, and the wool gathers its warmth. Out, and the warmth goes all the way to your fingertips, slow as honey leaving a spoon. And the pause, wide, dark harbor still. The few stars in this quiet quarter have begun, very gradually, to do what stars do at the far end of a long night. Not going out, nothing here goes out, but softening, each one, like windows in a distant town when the town is going to sleep. One dims behind what might be a wisp of dust, and glows on, muffled, a lamp behind a curtain. Another seems to lower itself, gently, the way a light is lowered in a room where someone has just drifted off and the house is being kind about it. You are watching a whole far country go to bed, window by window, light by light, unhurried, tender. And something in you keeps them company the way you keep company with rain from indoors, glad of it, warm against it, sinking because of it. Whoever they are, whatever they are, all those distant fires, they are settling too. The entire night, as far as it reaches, and it reaches farther than reaching goes, is settling. And you are one small, warm part of that settling, one window among the windows, your own light lowering itself now, softly, softly, behind the curtain of your closing eyes. The dust has thinned, or you have drifted below it. A last few grains go by overhead like the last few notes of a music box winding down. Slower, slower, each one taking longer to pass than the one before, until you cannot tell whether the next has come or whether the stillness is complete. It makes no difference. Stillness and slowness have become the same thing down here. Everything that moves, moves at the speed of resting. The far comet, the circling pair, the tide in your chest, the blood going its warm rounds under the skin like a night watchman who knows every corridor by heart and needs no lamp. You are very deep in the night now, deep enough that the dark has a warmth of its own, close and felted like the inside of a sleeve, deep enough that up and down have folded their meanings away for the night, and there is only in, further in. And the further in you go, the more the night seems to have been shaped for exactly this, for a sleeper of exactly your size, arriving at exactly this hour, at exactly this slowness. The black fits you. It fits you at the shoulders and the hips and the backs of the knees. It fits you the way a hollow and deep grass fits the animal that has slept there every night of its life. Pre-warmed, pre-shaped, waiting without waiting. Somewhere far above, or far behind, the words are only ribbons now. The two blue-white stars go on circling. You cannot see them anymore. You don't need to. Their patience is in you now, keeping its slow time in your pulse, in the long tide of your breath, in the small, faithful warmth under the wool. What was theirs has become yours. That is how it works this deep. Whatever you rest your attention on, softly enough for long enough, gives you its stillness to keep. And the night gives and asks for nothing back. Your face has gone smooth without your asking it to. The small muscles around the eyes, the ones that hold the day in place, have laid their work down, and the forehead is a plane of calm, and the jaw hangs soft as a gate left open onto a garden at night. There may be the faintest coolness across your cheeks still, the high, thin coolness of the deep. And beneath everything, the warmth, the whole slow lake of it, rising a little with each breath in, spreading a little with each breath out, until warm is not something you feel anymore, but something you are. A single star remains near or near enough. Small, white gone soft like a pearl seen through water. It does not flicker now. It only glows evenly, patiently, the way a nightlight glows in the hallway of a sleeping house, not to be looked at, only to be there. So that the deep is never strange, only dark, only quiet, only home in its oldest form. You may find your attention lying beside that little light the way one sleeper lies beside another. Not holding on, just near, breathing in its neighborhood. In, slow as a door easing shut. Out, slower, the last inch of the door, the soft click that no one hears. And the pause. The drift has all but stopped, or become so smooth that stopping and drifting are the same. You lie in the black water of the night like something the night made itself and is pleased with. Buoyed, warm, dim, complete. Far off, the comet carries its lamp along the road. Farther still, the windows of the great dark town go amber and lower and soft. And here, where you are, there is wool and warmth, and the pearl-white glow, and the thick, kind silence pressing its cool palms so gently over everything. Thoughts have stopped arriving. Where they used to come from, there is only a soft, dark doorway now, and nothing in the doorway, and the doorway itself growing sleepy at its hinges. Your body reports almost nothing, a warmth spread wide, a weight spread wider, somewhere a tide. The dust is gone or asleep. The stars keep what watch is left to keep, and it is almost none, and they keep it gladly. You sink another layer. It is hardly sinking anymore, more like the night rising past you, slow as water filling a footprint on a beach after the walker has gone on. Rising warm around your ankles, your knees, your folded hands. Rising without hurry, because there is nowhere it needs to reach by any particular hour. And you let it rise. You have been letting things all night, and this is the easiest letting yet, because there is so little of you left to do it. Only a soft attention, thin as the light of that pearl star, resting on the rising dark the way mist rests on a pond. Somewhere in you, very quietly, a last small watchfulness looks around. finds the wool warm, the deep kind, the light faithful, the silence whole, and lies down. The night closes over that, gently, the way water closes over a leaf. And still there is more deep below, endless soft fathoms of it, and no need to reach any of them tonight or ever. They are simply there, the way the rest of a bed is there beyond the warm place you have made. Dark provinces of rest, unvisited, unhurried, holding their stillness for you the way cellars hold their cool through the longest summer. The pearl light blurs, softens, becomes a warmth at the edge of seeing rather than a thing seen. Your breath is so slow now that each one seems to belong to a different hour of the night. This one to the hour of the circling stars. This one to the hour of the dust. This one to no hour at all, to the unnumbered time between the numbers, where sleep keeps its house. Warm, heavy, held. The dark breathes with you, or you with it. One slow bellows, banked low, keeping a coal of warmth alive at the center of an immense and tender night. Far away, a window dims. Nearer, the wool holds its heat. Nearest of all, the pause at the bottom of the breath opens, and opens. And there is room in it now for all of you, every last thread and grain and ember of you, gathered in, laid down, covered over. You rest there a long time, longer than the words for it. The night goes on turning its slow page around you, and nothing is written on the page but dark, soft dark, and the dark is enough. It has always been enough. It was only ever waiting for you to be this tired, this warm, this willing. The pearl star, when it shows at all now, shows the way a lamp shows through a wall of falling snow. A suggestion of gold white, a kindness more than a light. And between its slow appearances there is only the felted black, and the warmth, and the tide gone small and far. You could not say any more where your edges are. The wool is warm, and you are warm, and the night is warm at its center where you lie, and the three warmths have gone into each other like breaths into a shared room. Something eases in the deep, some last far settling, soft as a house timber sighing at 2 in the morning. And after it the silence is even more complete, the way silence is after snow has slid from a branch. Nothing follows it, nothing needs to. You drift in the hour with no number. The stars mine the distances. The dark mines the depth. The warmth mines you. And slowly, at the pace of honey, at the pace of the circling pair, at the pace of light crossing the last little gap between a star and a closed eyelid, slowly the deep gathers itself around you into something very like a cradle, black-walled, wool-floored, lit by one pearl at a great and gentle distance. And it holds still, and it holds you, and it rocks, if it rocks at all. Only as much as your own breath rocks it, no more. In, and the cradle rises the width of a heartbeat. Out, and it settles, and you settle with it, deeper into the warm hollow the night has been shaping for you all along. And the pause, the wide dark harbor, the anchored quiet. Another layer takes you. You don't feel it take you. That is how you know how deep this is. The layers no longer announce themselves. They simply happen, the way the hours of deep night happen to a sleeping house, one after another, unwitnessed, kind, each one darker and softer than the last, each one folding its predecessor away like linen into a drawer that closes without a sound. The far comet must be somewhere still, walking its road. The two blue stars must be circling. The town of windows must be down to its last few lights. All of it goes on. All of it goes on without you now, faithfully, the way the world goes on outside a sleeping window. And that is the sweetest arithmetic of the night, that everything is carried and none of it by you. Only warmth is yours to hold, and it holds itself. Only breath is yours to do, and it does itself. Only rest remains, and rest is not a doing at all. It is this, only this. The wool, the deep, the pearl gone soft behind the snow of almost sleep, the tide gone small, the harbor dark and full. And the harbor holds. It has room for you. It has had room for you all along, this dark water without water, this anchorage among the far lights. And now that you are fully in it, you can feel how little it asks. Nothing. It asks nothing. The pearl star keeps its distance the way a lighthouse keeps its distance from the boats it loves. Present, faithful, far, and the felted black lies over everything like the underside of a wing. Your breath has gone small, small and round. In, a soft filling no bigger than a cupped hand. Out, a soft emptying. And the pause after, wide as the whole deep, patient as the whole deep. You might notice that you are not doing the breathing anymore. The breathing is doing itself, somewhere below thought, in that old kind country of the body that never needed instructions. And you are simply nearby, the way warmth is nearby a lamp. The wool beneath you, around you, has stopped being a thing you feel and become a thing you are, warm through and through. Warm the way a stone is warm at dusk, holding an afternoon it no longer remembers. Somewhere very far off, the two blue stars circle. You cannot see them now. You don't need to. They circle the way a mobile turns over a crib in a dark room, slow, devoted, unwatched. And their turning stirs the deep so gently that all it makes by the time it reaches you is this faint sense of being rocked, a motion smaller than motion, a rumor of a cradle. In, the width of a heartbeat. Out and deeper. The dark has a grain to it now, soft as brushed cotton, and the grain runs the way you are drifting. Everything runs the way you are drifting. The last thin currents of the deep, the last slow light of the pearl, the last few thoughts, gone quiet and shapeless, moving off like fish into the black, unhurried, unmissed. You may find there is a heaviness in your arms that is not heaviness at all but trust. The arms trusting the dark to hold them, the way they trusted a mattress once, long ago, before you knew the word for it. And the same trust in the legs, in the back, in the small muscles of the face that have finally set down what they were carrying. The brow smooth as the inside of a shell, the jaw soft, the eyes resting behind their lids like two small dark stones at the bottom of a still pond, and the pond frozen over with the thinnest, warmest ice of almost sleep. Nothing moving down there, nothing needing to move. The pearl star breathes. Once a minute maybe slower, a gold-white swelling, gentle as a held note fading. And then the long dim, and the deep drinks the light down and keeps it somewhere, the way the sea keeps the day's warmth long after dark. You drink it down too, without trying. A little gold in the chest, a little white behind the eyes, and then the dim again, and the dim is good. The dim is where sleep lives. Far away, farther than far, the comet is still walking its road with its coat of pale dust, and it will walk all night and all the nights after, and it does not need you to watch it go. Nothing needs you to watch. That is the whole gift of this hour. The watchfulness lifting off you like a coat lifted from tired shoulders, hung somewhere in the dark by kind hands, and underneath the coat, just you, warm, light, done. Done with the day. The day is folded and put away in that drawer that closes without a sound. Done with the hours. The hours belong to the town of windows now, and the town is nearly all dark, its last few lights going out one by one like slow amber eyes closing. There, and there. Good night. Done even with the journey. The journey has arrived. It arrived here in the warm hollow in the black-walled cradle, and there is nowhere after here. Here is the deepest room of the deep, and you are in it, and the door, if there ever was a door, has drifted shut behind you as softly as an eyelid. In, out, and the wide pause, like a dark shore where nothing lands. You might feel the last little threads letting go now. Not cut, just let. A thread from the shoulder floating off into the black. A thread from the hip. A thread from behind the ears where listening lived. Let go. The deep will do the listening. It is very good at it. It has listened to falling starlight for longer than there have been ears, and it never once was startled. The tide is so small now, so small and so far. A hush at the very rim of hearing, like the sound inside a shell held a room away. And even that is fading, or you are fading toward it. It is hard to say which, and it does not matter which. Nothing needs saying. The deep and the tide and the wool and the warmth have all agreed on silence, and you are welcome in the agreement, the youngest signer, the softest name. The pearl swells, somewhere, a kindness through the snow of almost sleep, and dims. Warm. Held. Deeper now. You can tell only by the softness. The softness has a new floor under it, and under that floor, another, and the floors go down and down like quilts in a linen press, and every one of them is yours, and you are sinking through them at the pace of honey, and each one closes warm above you as you pass. The blue stars circle. The dust road glows, faint, patient elsewhere. The dark mines the depth. You may notice a sweetness in the body now, a low, wide sweetness, like the moment just after a sigh. And it doesn't peak and it doesn't pass, it just stays, level and kind, the body's own low light left on in its farthest room. And by that light nothing is happening, and nothing will happen all night except warmth, except breath, except this slow being carried that asks so little of you it is almost indistinguishable from being loved. In, small and round. Out, smaller, rounder. The words are getting sparse now. You can feel it. They come further apart like the lamps at the end of a long pier. And between them, dark water, warm dark water, and the dark water is where you actually are. The words are only the lamps. You can let them pass. One, and then a long, soft dark, and then another. And you do not need to walk from lamp to lamp anymore. You can stay in the dark between. The dark between is the best part. The dark between is sleep's own country. The pearl once more, gold white, far, gone soft. The wool holds. The deep holds. Your breath, slower than the tide now, slower than the pearl. Somewhere the circling pair turn once around each other, all in silence, all in blue, and the turn takes longer than a dream. You are so far down, so warm. The last few sounds of the deep are settling around you like snow on snow, a hush upon a hush, and each one lands softer than the one before until landing itself becomes too loud a word for it. They arrive the way sleep arrives, unnoticed, already here. Already here. Perhaps it is. Perhaps this is it, this warmth with no edges, this dark with no floor, this breath that breathes itself. Perhaps you have already crossed, and the crossing was so gentle it left no mark. And if you haven't, you are so near that the near and the arrived are keeping each other company, side by side in the same warm hollow, and there is nothing to choose between them. Nothing to choose. Nothing to do. The night has you. In. And out. In the harbor. The pearl star, if it shows at all, a suggestion, a kindness. A dims. The wool, warm. The deep, soft. The circling stars, somewhere blue and slow, keeping their patient time for you. All night. They will keep it all night. So you don't have to. Let the last thread go now, the thin one, the one that was holding these words. And let it drift off into the black like the others. The deep will catch it. The deep catches everything. Warm. Held. Dark. The tide once, small, far. Then the hush after. A long hush. Long and warm. Your breath rises, the width of a heartbeat, and settles. And the settling goes on, down through the wool, down through the layers that no longer announce themselves, down into the black-walled cradle where the night keeps what it loves. And it keeps you. Softly. All night it keeps you. The pearl, far, gold white, breathing its one slow breath through the snow. Is dim now, is dimmer. The dark, close as wool. The warmth, deep as the deep. And here, you are allowed to sleep. There is nothing you need to do now. Is nothing at all. Only rest. Only the warm dark. Only the slow far pearl. Only this. The stars mind the distances. The night minds the hours. The warmth minds you. In, soft. And out, softer. And the wide dark pause, holding. Holding. The hollow deepens by one more breath. The wool warms by one more degree of kindness. Somewhere blue, the pair turn, slower than telling. And the deep sighs its house timber sigh, far below content. And after it, the completest silence yet. It's no silence. It's sleep silence. Nothing follows it. Nothing needs to. Warm. Dark. It held. The pearl, once more, barely. A lamp behind snow. A kindness. There. And soft. And gone into the warm black, the way a last thought goes. Unmissed. Unkept. You rest. The night turns its slow page. Nothing is written on it but dark. Soft dark. And it is enough. It has always been enough. The cradle rocks, if it rocks at all, only as your breath rocks it. In, the width of a heartbeat. Out, the depth of the deep. And the pause. The harbor. The anchored quiet. Deeper. Warmer. Further from the words. They are only lamps now, far behind you on the pier. Is small. A golden. Going out one by one as the town sleeps. There. And there. Good night. The wool. The warm. The dark that holds. The far blue turning. The pearl asleep behind its snow. The tide gone small as a breath. Gone soft as yours. Gone. Only warmth now. Only the deep. Only the slow. Slow. Being carried. Down through the last warm layer. Into the hollow the night made for you. A shape to you. Waiting for you. It's all along. Rest here. Rest all night here. The dark minds the depth. The warmth minds you. And sleep. Sleep is only this. The wool. The deep. The pearl gone soft. The breath that breathes itself. In. And out. And the wide, warm, anchored dark. Holding. Holding. Still holding. Is soft. Is softer. Is warm. Is dark. Is here. Is only rest now. Is only the deep. Is only sleep.